What's up, Signal Profits family? Sorry for the late announcement there. I thought I had sent it out earlier, but sometimes they go into drafts. But boring ass market today. There was really it's probably the most boring market I've seen in quite some time. What about you, Chingus?
Yeah, I had to stop myself from looking at charts because I found myself hunting for what wasn't there. So sometimes you just have
Did they get the right
a
link? I'm
blind
seeing
deck.
I'm seeing zero. Hold on.
I got 16 waiting and
Oh,
we're
okay.
on.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I
looks
think,
like
I think okay, cool.
good. So
Let me
let me
check. All
move
right,
my
cool.
screen.
If you guys don't mind, just say hi in chat. I just want to make sure the audio is good. There's a lot of different technicalities to this. It depends on what microphone I'm using. What's good? Swing Smash it. What's up, Paul? What's up, JPeep72? Tony Hazeman. What's up, brother? Mark Steiner, Joe Torrizi, Brian. All right, man. We got a lot of people in here. So remember, guys, whatever questions you've got, whatever charts you want to look at, this is your time. We can go through them all. We can look at bullish, bearish scenarios, kind of talk about, what the best buy-in areas would be if you've got some coins that you're looking at. So just throw them in chat. We will go back and reread them. And if we don't, just make sure you throw it out. Gale Force Studio says, hey. MMLL says, what's up? Okay, so yeah, metal's a big one. Those were the coins we were looking at this morning. ETC, yep, I'm going to go through all those. So let's start at the top with Pearl, because that's the one you guys all want to. No, I'm just kidding. We'll start with Bitcoin, but Pearl is up, and it is getting close to my buy zone here. High risk, but this buy zone was 1100, which was basically the listing price. And this IEO actually did really terrible comparatively to the other ones. It only did 2x. So we're sitting on this falling wedge kind of support here, which lines up with the 5-minute support of the listing price. So I think this is a decent area for a buy, and then you just cut it if the 1100 zone breaks. But then I'd be targeting, probably maybe even just 1200, 1245. But even just the top side here would give you, 4%. But again, high risk, downtrend, brand new listed coin just today. So if you don't want to play those high risk shit coins, then definitely just stick to Bitcoin. Okay, so Bitcoin, I was hoping for one more pullback, but it looks like we're pushing up as we near the daily close here. And we're definitely not out of the woods yet with Bitcoin. We're still, it's still kind of anybody's guess as to whether this thing's going to break up or down. I just wanted to play this range and just make some money while the market was pretty boring. We did break up and out of this downtrend here. And so, as I said yesterday, you could buy the pullback, which is around 10,200, 10,250. So anybody that bought that, yeah, you're doing pretty well right now. It did pull back right onto our trend line, as you can see here. Pulled right into that 10,200 zone. It actually pulled back yesterday. I had a long at 10,250 as a scalp trade, and I'm holding on to that right now. And currently, it's pushing up nicely on the 30-minute. I was hoping for one more quick sell down back into this buy zone, down to 10,150 zone, and I was hoping for a bit of a test right here with a wick, like a liquidity wick, to kind of take out any stops below these two wicks right here. So I was playing kind of the market maker game. It does look like we're pushing up right now. We'll see if it can break past this 10,400 level that has been kind of a bear for quite some time. It was come all the way back here. Rejection. So we're going to test that one more time. But like I said yesterday, now that we broke this downtrend, now we're looking for pullback areas to get long. So whether you got long here, whether you got long here, both were okay. And now what we're looking at is we're looking at targeting this high side, 11,000, 11,200. This SR flip right here, that's going to be pretty key. Even right here in the 10,800. But both those will get you nice profit with where we can move our stops into profit. I was looking for a pullback, but we'll see if we get it on the daily close here. Weekly, same thing that we've been looking at. We've got a lot of indecision doji. We're just barely above the weekly close 2 weeks ago, which kind of kept us at bay here. So we're just barely above it. We're going to see how that closes more near the end of the week, but still just this consolidation triangle where we can kind of go down or up. If we do go up, then most alts, like I said, are going to get absolutely smashed, especially in BTC value, but USDT value could rise. Now, it is a solid alt season if we can get some alts that move with Bitcoin. And then as we look at our moving averages, we can see that our 20 MA has not been tested yet on the weekly. We do have a nice 20, 50, 100 cross. All of those things are good. The 200 weekly is right back down here still, right around the 5,800 to 6,000 zone. It looks like we're not quite testing our RSI support zones, which are right here. That would be the 53, 54 level. And so if we do get a push up to that 11.3, 11.2, I do expect one more push down to at least test our 21 MA and this lower liquidity. But we do have an 11,700 gap on the CME futures chart, which I showed you guys last time. And these gaps do like to fill. So we've got, let's look at the hourly. So we still have this gap here, and then we've got this massive gap. Where'd that go? And we still have, where'd that go? 8,700. We still have this gap right here. So 80, 85 to basically like 9,000. So I do expect the gaps to get filled. The question is like, which way do they go first? And the only way to know that is when we just get a triangle breakout. The indicators are very, very mixed. The open interest is very, very mixed. And we're just really just consolidating kind of within this triangle pattern. And so that's going to be the key, is just the breakout up or down of this triangle pattern. We are not above the 400 MA on the futures chart yet, which is pretty telling. Yeah, so all in all, it's still kind of anybody's game. We're still in a consolidating structure that isn't really giving too many clues as to which way it wants to go. The only thing that we've gotten lately is just a breakout of this pattern and a pullback to the trend here. And so, I do expect a bit of a push, but, it's going to be, 4 to 7%. And the way that this market is, it just, we get these 16% sell-offs. The RR hasn't been the best to trade, so I've been trying to, just be patient, wait for the best setups possible. But I did see this today, and I wanted to take it just because we did break that, and we're holding it nicely. Okay, let me take a look at some copyright infringement. Tisk, 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 12 out of 10. Okay, metal. Yeah, so there's only a few coins I'm watching just based on volume. You really only want to trade the coins with good volume. We're getting some random, pumps, which we expected from the market maker pumps as Americans kind of moved off the exchange. So metal had this nice extended bull flag, which is kind of an invalid bull flag, but it did have this nice pullback correction, and it went pretty deep. It went over 32% from 22 August. And so it probably shook a lot of hands out, ran a lot of stops. It didn't quite make it to the 61.8. You could see that level was front ran, meaning that somebody bought it before it hit the 61.8. And we're currently testing the 236. That's usually a good target to sell at, 23.6. And so ideally, we made a lower high here. No bearish divergence on the hourly, no bearish divergence on the 30 minutes. So it's looking pretty strong for an uptrend. We're probably getting some moving average crossovers here. So this is one we can look for pullbacks, back to the 38.2, 377. These are just little intraday scalps. Supposedly they have some big news coming out soon, but Metal, One, and what was the other one we were looking at? Metal, One, Tomo was another one that's
Tomo,
got solid
Pearl.
volume.
Yeah.
Pearl, and then let's take a look at Tomo.
COS was moving for a little while. At least they got a little bit more volume.
Yeah, Tomo had that nice, here, let's look at this on the 30 minute. I did a nice breakdown on this before, but so one of the things that I like to do is these impulsive moves. I like to buy the 61.8, which was right here. It was a super high risk play. I did provide it, but it was a super high risk play. And I usually just like to sell them at the 38.2. So I think I made like 8% on this trade. But it did end up running and retesting the highs. And now we're coming back down and we're back on the 61.8 level. I don't typically like to buy it. I mean, you can buy it the second time. It just becomes a little bit more risky. First time is like pretty much a no-brainer. But at this point, I would probably be wait for this 78.6 level. That to me looks like the most supportive zone for a pullback, buy, bounce, in my opinion. And so we could take an attempt here, but it's a little bit riskier just because we've already tested it, bounced, and usually the second one usually fails and tests the 78.6 for a little bit more liquidity. All right, let me take a look. What's up? What's up? Metal. Any other charts you guys want me to look at? WAN BTC. Okay, WAN. Oh my God, which one? I'm just kidding. That joke never gets old. Okay, so I wanted to go over my USDT Binance lending 3 coins. Yep. Hold on. I wanted to go over this chart with you guys. So these coins got listed on the USDT market, and typically after we see coins get listed on the USDT market, we do see like a pump 2 to 3 days later. So these are the coins that I am watching for specifically. So I'm going to go through some of these with you guys. So Mainframe is still sitting around 11 sats. Massively sold off. We took like one trade on this bounce, I think actually like 39 to 50. And that was the last time we've touched this coin. So we did get this breakout right here. And these are all super, super low sat shit coins. But what's nice is we got this breakout and we got the retest of this. So it's the first time that Mainframe's really had a breakout retest. So super high risk, but with the USDT market getting added, I could see this. See, the problem with low sat, we're at 10 sats. 2 sats is 18%. But if we can get back, just even to 17 sats or 18 sats, it's a 50, 60% move. And Mainframe is one that can probably do that, fairly easily. The problem is we've been in this massive downtrend for quite some time. But so Mainframe's one, it's on the higher risk side. I just want to check in on Bitcoin real quick. All right, 10,367. Not doing too much. Okay, and then DOC USDT was added, but DOC had a 100% pump already, and it looks like it's already dumped. So we're watching this right now, but it had 146% move, and that's what I'm talking about with these low sat shitcoins. And it formed this kind of W structure, higher low, came up, tested the liquidity on the daily, right there. So it kind of formed this higher low base of support, which was the 61.8, and then it bounced out. High risk, low sat shitcoin, but 160% move is 160% move. Okay, so that one already moved. I would not look at that at the moment. Civic, this had a nice little 50% pump. We've got 1, we've got 2. I expect this to probably come back all the way back down to 392.400. Before I would think about it. So that's off the list. And then Funfair. This is actually one of, oh, look at that. Damn it. See, these have these little pumps, 50%. So this one, same thing. I'd be looking at, 23 to 25. I do think these will pump even more just because they're so massively oversold look at the weekly, and they're just now coming out of that. But Funfair is a Palm Beach project that they put out as a research project. And so this has, just to get back to any sort of support level, 100, 181% move. Now, what's the best way to take these types of trades? USDT is good because you're not buying into the BTC queue. The problem is the USDT chart is, I was like, what the hell? We just listed it. The problem is the Fun USDT chart or any of these USDT charts are super brand new. So the safest coins, these are all high risk. The safest coins right now to play are BNB, which we are sitting on our tail support right here. And they just introduced lending, but with the US ban, this is also a high risk trade. You're going to hear me say that a lot. Daily, trying to form a higher low. 4 hour, still not, out of this channel. So for BNB, best thing, safest thing is wait for a breakup of this channel here, which is like the 25,000 level. A breakup and hold, which was previous support, turn into resistance. And most likely we'll probably get one more test of this lower liquidity zone before bouncing and testing and breaking out of this top range. If we lose this lower support, then we've got a little bit more ways to go before we hit any support, which could happen with the US ban coming up. And I'll talk about that a little bit. I know I've talked about it a few times, but I'll go over kind of what our strategy and what our plan is. So BNB, WAN I covered, and then ETC. I like the way the ETC looks. This is just a, to me, just a classic consolidation pattern. We've got a nice pennant forming, very clear invalidation levels, wick to the downside, wick to the top side. So just kind of Ren. I was debating whether or not I wanted to keep it open with the potential Bitcoin move yesterday, but it was holding up pretty well. So I kind of left it open, but yeah. What are you doing here? Is this locked or something? No. Okay. So we're basically at a pivot level here. I bought into some Ethereum Classic. There was some news on Binance. And so that's one of the things that I'm watching for is a break up. My targets on this are basically just my fib levels from the previous high up here all the way down. So you could see we are testing the 382. 236 is down here. So, next target is 50. And then the top side target is 61.8. I don't know if I'll hold for the 78.6. It just depends on how hard this candle moves. If our Fibonacci extensions can serve us with anything, the 1618 is right below that 50%, and then the 2618 is not visible. And the 2618 is right around the 61.8. So I like Ethereum Classic. It's a very classic pattern with very, very, damn, I had my time zone off since I missed the first 30 minutes. You going to talk Bitcoin again? Yeah, I can recover Bitcoin, Tom. All right, and somebody said FTM just got a boner. Nice little green candle. Oh, baby. Yeah, and this is a shitcoin chart, right? I mean, there's really no rhyme or reason. The market makers just come in and then they put in this. See, this is what happened yesterday. I have like 1,000 updates.
Oh man. We're going to get shut down.
In 1 hour. And that's what happened last time when you were doing the live stream. It just closed you out.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys. Countdown's on.
Yeah. So 1 hour from now. I don't know why. It's not even giving me the option of delaying these updates. That's what happened last night. Okay. So, yeah, FTM. Nice little candle in. Let's take a look at the volume scanners. See what kind of volume we've got going on.
See, it just got a 7% bump in volume. 747, about 10 minutes ago.
Let me do it quick.
That's also the tether pair, though.
37 Bitcoin. So right now it ranks about 6th in volume. Let me bring my Hero app up. Yeah, up recent net volume 0.8 Bitcoin. 17.9 over the last. All right, we'll keep an eye on that. Looks like it's got a nice push in it though. I would expect a bit of a pullback in this region here, 236. Nice little breakout, nice little retest, but yeah, I mean that there's nothing in this structure of this chart that would make me want to buy it, unless I was just accumulating, and that's kind of what I'm talking about with a lot of these other shitcoins. It's not like the best technical analysis. It's just more, this is the market that we've got to work with. Okay, let's see if anything else is moving right now. PHB had a nice move earlier. I was expecting a nice little pop on TNB, kind of a climax pump here up to like the 45-50 region.
I think Myth got a lot of volume lately. That might be worth looking at. I think IOTA was moving. I got to check my list though.
Yeah, this chart is so ugly though, man. These shitcoin charts are just like,
oh, hot. Yeah, I mean, I'm watching hot currently, but on the Tether pair, but the BTC pair moved 12% earlier. So
I mean, these aren't typically valid, but we did have 1, 2, a breakup, retest, push up. What's the volume on Myth? 223 net volume. Yeah, the problem is you really want some coins with some volume. Ren is still like the best trending coin. A lot of them are trying to reverse their trends, but on higher time frames, like weekly time frame, Ren is still like the best trending coin. Let's see. ZIL, ZRX, TNB starting to turn over. All right, let me take a look at XBT one more time. All right, so it did hit. We got this previous little spike here. It really depends on. Okay, so candles closing. So let's see if the buy bots show up or sell bots show up, because we get about 5 minutes after the candle close, and then they start to engage the bots. I'm hoping for just one more test into our buy zone. But they might have put in the 3 liquidity wicks that we were looking for. Let's see if we've got any moving averages that are propping us up right now. 200 EMA on the 30-minute. Oh yeah, we're basically sitting on the 200 MA on the hourly. Broke below it for a little bit, but came right back up. 4 hour. Yeah, we got rejected yesterday at that 200 EMA, 200 MA. The 20 is crossing down, but hasn't crossed under the 50 yet. But that is typically pretty bearish. You can see we got rejected once, twice, 3 times at the 20 MA as well as the 50 on the daily chart. We're still barely holding our RSI. So again, it's really, I mean, ideally we get above this 20 MA, but then your RR is pretty limited up to 11,400. And or we break through this lower end support, which is the 100 MA. And if we do that, then we can be targeting our lower buy zone. So still kind of mixed bag here. I'm surprised that alts got murdered as hard as they did with just such a small move. But yeah, so like 5%, but alts dropped 15, 20%. That's kind of the risk we run with altcoins. So besides Binance, I think that the best play moving forward that we're gonna do is we'll look for like some altcoins on KuCoin and Coinbase Pro, but their stability and their volatility has not been great for trading. And so we're gonna mostly focus on USDT and focus on the majors and really just focus on making money, instead of just chasing a lot of these altcoins like we have been. We're probably just going to focus on the USDT pairs mostly. So some of the USDT pairs I'm still watching. I'm still watching Link USDT, still a high time frame trending coin. I'm waiting for a decent pullback here. And this is going on Coinbase. We're getting close to our buy zone on Link. A lot of people are saying this thing's just going to go to zero, but they don't just automatically go to zero. We usually see some pretty nice bounces in between that you can scalp for some pretty solid gains. We've hit this 61.8 1, 2, 3 times. Our 200 MA is closer to the 78.6. So this is where I'm looking to get a solid bounce, the $1.29, $1.30 region. And I think we hit that, and we should be able to, make 15, 20% up to the 61.8 or the 38.2. I don't think they'll let this drop much lower than this, so we can keep our risk, 5%. Target here, 40%. Target here, up to 120%. I think that is a very solid move, and I think that that's where our strongest support will be. So that's one area I'm looking at, is that 78.6 as well as the 200 MA, 200 EMA on the daily for the USDT chart. And so these just take time to develop. We don't want to rush in too early. We want to wait for the right setups on that. And then the other coin that I was watching on the USDT side, Matic, which is also listed on Coinbase. It's trending down on higher time frames, but when it moves, it likes to move hard. Currently, we're consolidating, holding the 50 MA right here. And so if we can just hold this up, not a terrible play. We're sitting on the 200 MA. Actually, this is actually looking like a pretty solid RR right now. Even if we just target the 200 EMA, I mean, we can come in here with like less than 2% risk. All right, so this might be a signal later on, but topside targets would probably be this same range up here that it's hit a couple times. So a solid little 4 risk reward. We're holding this 200 MA on the 4 hour. That's looking pretty clean. It looks like we're getting into a really, really tight band there. Matic BTC. Same thing. We're sitting on that 200 MA, 4 hour. This chart has been really, really choppy to trade. I know we took a trade earlier that did well, and then another one that stopped out. But you've got just like up, down, up, down, up, down, pretty sideways. Very choppy. That's where most of the markets have been doing. They'll pump like 40%. They'll drop 35%. PHB, I was looking for a pullback to this 200 EMA on the 4 hour, and we're getting really, really, really close to that. Whoops, sorry. That's PHB BTC. Okay, so I think that only has the BTC pair. So again, nice little scalp trade, targeting up here, 15, 17%. These have been doing pretty well. Make sure you watch the intraday charts. Those have been probably the better trades to take. FTM pushing up. I'm guessing it's going to get rejected by this 200 EMA. Kind of hard to play this now. Now that it's pushed up, 17%. But that's what I'm looking for on some of these shit coins. And we're just watching the volume monitors, picking it up, and that's what we're looking for on a lot of these. Hi Jacob, I'm new here. Based on the last signal census, take entry at 10,100, 10,150. Yes, we're looking for a pullback entry. Why not Huobi? Huobi US, you mean? Pearl wick to 1100 just now. Yep, still holding our trend. Expect some volume to move in here. We're getting pretty oversold on the 5 minute, but we're buying into a downtrend, so higher risk. And then what else were we watching for? I'm gonna let Chinggis take over and show us some of the charts he's got going on. I'll be back in about 20-30 minutes, and we'll go from there.
And then the computer will shut itself down.
T minus 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys. These Windows updates, man. I don't know what the hell's going on.
The clock is on, ladies and gentlemen. All right, everyone. If you got anything, just throw it in chat. And of course, we will take a look. We have pretty much covered Bitcoin exclusively, so not too much to talk about. JC kind of talked about Bitcoin, what we're looking at. This is a daily chart. Right here just makes it very easy to see the clamp. Right, the big white one on the bottom is the 100-day. The big red one up top is the 20. This slate one right here might be a little hard to see, but that's the 50-day. All right, so that's where it went yesterday. Went right to the 50 and then sold right back to our EMAs. That's the 9 EMA that it closed just over, which is bullish. Not able to capture anything more in this zone. Unfortunately, I would have liked to close above this candle action over here from previous days. Not so much. And we didn't close over the wick from yesterday, the day before, which is also unfortunate. So 2 bearish to 1 bullish. But that's how we're looking as far as daily is concerned. Weekly, I mean, it's a little too early to talk weekly stuff, but we're still maintaining the pattern, right? Nothing has changed here. No break to the low side, no break to the high side. So good, clean overall. We're staying right where we need to stay as far as Bitcoin just being sideways or indecisive. So nothing has really changed, except, we got a bigger pullback on that move. If we did go with a bullish scenario, of course, I had to slide my D over. Otherwise, we'd have to go up, X amount of percent today. But it's still valid for now. You can see how sideways this is, right? I mean, just draw a box around here and you could just see that's the range. So anything above or below it does sort of move momentum that way naturally. Like we talked about in the update earlier, we were on pace to get over average volume, which is first time in 9 days. We did do it. But you could see how much volume there was at the close and then how little volume there was throughout the day. Very little interest in trading the market, period, as a whole, all day. So all day it was fairly quiet. Dominance, we can see right here. All right, we still got another tick up. So that's 2 days in a row now. We're pushing to the upside, putting a little bit more juice in there. However, same thing. Look at the top side. Look at the bottom side. We're just in range. Very tight range. But until we get a solid breakout above or a solid breakdown below, we're still just in this range. So nothing has changed on the bigger scale as far as all that stuff's concerned. This is MCO. We were just talking about that earlier. So let's pull up just a few things that always sort of capture my attention. Again, when there's not much shaking, I just kind of focus on what was looking good, what's getting volume, what looks interesting. These are all USDT pairs, by the way. So for those that were looking for Tether trades or just USD trades. Quick snapshot, 4-hour chart. Top left is 1, link to the top right. Bottom left is Matic, and then Dusk is bottom right. So Dusk is a very interesting one. It's as new as it is. It's given me hell and back, but it does have clear levels, areas to look for. This is a nice level that it's coming up to, and a beautiful sell-off along the way. So targeting something around 1420, as long as we don't see any sort of intra support in this little ballpark here. But when Dusk has moved, and I know it's very new, but when it has moved, it's moved pretty well. Mentioned Matic earlier. So Matic 4-hour chart is sitting on the 200, which is fantastic. 200 right here. So this is essentially like a capture of what Bitcoin's doing right now. Picture that 200 as the 100-day MA. Test it, break away, test it, break away. Right now, we are currently retesting the faster EMAs, right? So the 7 and the 9, which is the first time we have in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 4-hour periods, so just under a day. So heavy downtrend, of course, underneath the 20 on a 4-hour chart is really bearish, but it's also something that gets tested quite frequently. And then when it does break over it, you get a fairly explosive move. So this is a very similar setup right here, right? Early on, you test it, you lose it, you push back, but when you do break it, you get a move like this. Nice big smash move. All right, so something like that is what I'd be looking for Matic. So that's a great move, right? 17%. That's fantastic. You can see that it did respect the pattern, right? Is just super choppy. You want to see a nice clean break to the upside with a nice clean pullback retest and then a breakaway move. This just hovered all over that retest zone. So really, really, really choppy, really hard to play. Something like this would have invalidated most trades. By the time you got the retest through the stop loss on previous structure, you would have been stopped out before you ever got the gain. So tough to play. But regardless, it is a pattern that'll show you something, right? Now, what it does after it hits the target is nothing. Now, this ended up being no good, right? Because for pattern, you should have gotten the height and you didn't. Something like this over here for one, right? One just took a pretty decent nosedive earlier. But again, very similar structure. This isn't the greatest of wedges, but you do show support on the downside. 1, 2, 3 tests to the upside. So we know that price is coiling. Now, a break to the downside here would be clean, obvious, and would get you out of any sort of trade. A target to the top side would be aggressive. You'd actually like to wait to see this come up, break it, again, close above, buy the retest, and then push up. That could take, a week before that ever happens. So if you were looking for short term, the idea would be to probably break and close above one of your EMAs. I would say that the 9 EMA would be the best thing to do. First target of resistance is going to be your 20 on the 4-hour chart. And then from there, you probably target just the top of the pattern, which means you're going to front run that 200 EMA on a 4-hour. Chainlink. All right. So Link USDT is a very interesting animal. I'm going to break this down a little bit more. All right. So Link, this thing was really fun early on, and it's done a lot of things since then. But just looking at the chart purely based off of structure, right, we can see this top side level here, right, didn't really get the full justice retest. Now it did almost come down right about here, came down. I think we've covered this before, but right there. Okay. Typically you would be looking for something a little bit more dramatic than just that little quick wick, but sometimes that's all you get. So the top side has been very well respected, right? And that's this right here. So top side, we know we got something going on there. As far as support, right? A breakdown of that really spells trouble, because then if you're just targeting the downside, it doesn't make much sense. All right, you want a more intense level than that, something that means a little bit more to the structure. And structure is like this right here. So if you're looking at this level, I'm pulling that across. So that gives you one target right here, right, which is all the way down $1.21. Now, the downside target would be the swing low. That's this right here. So you got massive targets on the downside, yet this whole time it's really holding this level well. So there's two ways to play this, right? You could play it now on the bounce, with a push to the upside, play to swing fail, which is this guy right here. Push it up, break it, or just push and sell. Or you wait for the breakdown. And if you do get the breakdown, it'll be pretty obvious, right? You've never traded below this level right here. So that was like that little mini wick. So easy stop loss, right? Any lower than that and you're out of the trade. But the downside, right? 200 EMA, 200 MA, confluence all the way down here. Now new, right? Because we don't have that much history on the chart. So it's tough. And this thing kind of went parabolic. So it's a very tough gauge to get anything out of there. Now, if we look at the fibs, so low side just on the move, up, ballpark figure, right? Just like Jacob was saying, 618, perfect hold zone. If we were to get down, 786, just about structure. This whole area is structure, but like that little breaking point before the smashed out candle, that's stuff that I look at. Like this area up here is also good, right? We could say that because that's the wicked out part. So in other words, you found enough interest in selling, right? Selling. But look at this level here. I mean, this level is just much better. That's just my opinion. That level is so much better. Okay. So that's where I would be. Again, you probably front run it up to the 786 anyway, or ladder down from 786 to a level like that and get out right away. Leave room for a small wick if you were to take it, and then move from there. So something like this is it's always something that we're looking at. At least I'm focused on everything, but I do watch USDT pairs a little closer. All right, so let's see if there's anything you guys want to look at here. Why not Huobi? So Huobi, there's a Huobi Pro, and then there's a Huobi US, which is HBus, which then got renamed again to Huobi.com, and whatever. The problem is liquidity, right? There's Huobi Pro is fantastic. Huobi US is not. So we got that move on Matic we were talking about earlier. Man, this thing just moves. What a pain. 3%. All right, let's see. Such great UI and could do small scale leverage. Yes, on Pro. Not US. All right, peak indicator, BTC sells coming. We looked at BTC. Yeah, not doing anything. It's chilling. It's hanging out. Let's see. Pearl wick below 1100. Matic BTC starting to move. Could be a fake out. Was wondering your opinion on OST. 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 Good bottom out rounding pattern. Small cup and handle played with the handle, but not your most valid. Good drop. So, this is pretty typical to what we see. Look at the structure. Come down, find support, break up, swing high, huge drop down, find support, good push. Where's the push go? Right to previous support, like that. All right. So, of course, now the move is, if it does have any steam left in it, right, a push up, clear break, come down for a nice retest with a push up. So you do have a few things here on the 4-hour chart. This price action, right, would be typical of a bear flag. Unfortunately, you already had a bull flag-ish play out, so that's sort of gone. But you do certainly have a channel from which you could trade. So take something like that. So the channel's okay. Not the greatest, but it does provide an area of range from which you could not safely trade, but from which you could trade. 9% moves up and down. So this is fairly, what do you call it? Range trading, right? For the most part. It's kind of like a safe way to trade smaller gains without needing to look at the whole big picture. Clear invalidation points on both sides, right? So if this was something you could long and short, right, you would always long, flip short, from flip short, flip long, flip short, and that would just be continuous. Much easier to do on the horizontal range than it is to do in a moving channel. You know, this is super easy because that's like grid trading. But something like a channel, you just have to babysit a little bit more. So, you know, right now we are below channel. So if you were going to do this, right, tighten the channel up, you know, so that it makes sense. Don't just like haphazardly throw some lines on here. Like actually make a channel. So if you're going to do that, take this, get your little channel tool, draw it, you know, so that it does make sense. And then now you got yourself a range. So right now you're trading outside of the channel. So this would be a no trade zone. Break and close below channel, retest further downside, right? That's what you look at. If it ends up being like a false break like this, then you're okay and you got nothing to worry about. Once you're back in the channel, right, and you've solidified support once again, then you long to the top of channel and you just get out. You don't wait for it to just do this unless you're looking for a longer term play, but then you want to be playing that channel. All right. So that's something you could do. The actual price like action from what we got earlier was a solid move up with a pullback down to the 618. 618 push to the 38, came back down, consolidated around the 5, pushed again on the 38. 38 gave up the 2-3, 2-3 back to the 3-8, 3-8 back to a double top gave you the drop back to the 2-3, and that's where we sit right now. So on the bigger price action window outside of just the channel, right now you currently have support on the 236. Next stop would be back to the double top with the push higher. And so you would want to be targeting something like an extension of this move here, maybe a 2618 or a 423. So something along these lines here. And we might do that one, but this is the more recent one. So let's see if it even like makes sense. So 2-6, yeah. So we're actually sitting on the 2-6. So 2-6 is confluence with the 2-3-6. 3-6 you already hit. So you're really your last target here before exhaustion, unless you get a lot of momentum pickup, would be this zone right here. Front run the 4-2-3 a little bit. So if you were to play the channel, figure the channel maybe has 1, 2, maybe 2 more moves, to break up to the 4-2. If you just want to play the 4-2, right, then you'd look for solid consolidation and support on the 2-6-1-8. That's where we are right now. That's at 1-2-3. So 1-2-3, you want to push up. I want to take this trade until you're at least closed, probably on a 4-hour candle, except these candles move quick. So I have to check the 1-hour chart. Yeah. Yeah, you're going to get less gains, but it's a much safer trade. Wait till you close above probably the 9 EMA on the 1-hour chart. That'll give you at least a safer trade. And then, make sure you have a clear invalidation point of something that you want to like get the hell out of there. Super low sat coin, so it's, highly unrecommended. But there's there could be some moves in there, possibly something to at least look at. All right. Any other charts? Anything you want me to like explain, talk about? Old Saturday Night Live episodes from the 80s, maybe the mid 90s. I want to talk about like slinkies and get into like art, tattoos. How about LTC BTC? Good LTC BTC. Yeah, Gumby. Gumby for sure. What was the dog's name? You remember the dog's name in Gumby? I don't remember his name. Edmund, you're gonna make me spit my coffee out. There is no downtime. That doesn't exist. Let's see. LTC BTC entry is also good. LTC USD entry usually. Wait, what? Peak, you're killing me. What's going on here? How about LTC BTC? Good LTC BTC entry is also good LTC USD entry usually. No. Not usually. Sometimes. But the market has to be in consideration of that to happen. And it's not. It's not. Not right now. But let's check it out. Litecoin, man, Litecoin broke my heart so many times. I had this chart. I don't think it's this one. Man, I had Litecoin in this channel that was like, it was fantastic. Now it's not this chart. But yeah, it was really good. It's the same deal though. Broke out of the channel like so dramatically. But I had this call. You're up here somewhere. It was on the USDT chart. But I had, I'll show you in a minute. Anyway, let's take a look. So bigger picture, Litecoin, Bitcoin, right? Low, high, lower low, right after a major downtrend, support level with a good push, consolidation, 3 days down, false break, right back to where you started, good push, slow death. So there's nothing currently about this that looks good as far as entries are concerned on a long-term play. And you might have something like on a 4 hour, you might be able to pull out like 1% or 2%. That's the thing about the higher cap coins. So like, let's say you got this trade in here and you brought it back to the 20. It's a 1.42% move. That same move for like Matic is like 8%. You know what I mean? But these have more liquid. These are it's easier in, easier out. You know what I mean? So it's safer trade, but you're not going to get the type of reward you would get on another pair. Now look at the LTC USDT chart. Right, you'll notice the difference. So big down, right? But we talked about this last night. Double bottom, testing liquidity. Right? We talked about this and I think Ethereum and something else, right? They all look the same. They all had this big buyback, right? And they had this huge, epic freaking drop. And this is, look at the consolidation, right? Perfect consolidation, not a perfect pattern, just perfect consolidation. And then just a monster drop. But look at the buyback, right? Look how hungry they were. Now, here's the thing about that. All right, let's get, bloop. All right, so here's the thing about that. What are we doing right now? We're accumulating within range. What's the range? That wick? Those were all the people who wanted to buy who never got their orders filled because like one cat got his order filled before it pushed up. All right. So now that we know we're just trading within a range, we could treat this a little differently. This gets the ping pong treatment. A safe low, right? And a safe high, good ceiling, good floor. All right. So you could do something where you always buy at 71.50. Let's just say, right? And to be safe, say you always sold 75.40, right? So 71.50 to 75.40. That would be your range. Something like this. Okay, 5%. You can long and short, right? So 5 up, 5 down, it's 10% move. Now it took let's see. So you got your order filled on a wick here, but let's just, for argument's sake, you got your order filled here and you sold, where'd you sell? $75. So you sold right here, 5.17%. And it took 2 days. You know what I mean? 12 bars on a 4 hour chart. So that was a successful trade. This would have hit your buy zone and it would have definitely hit your sell zone. So that would have been a good trade. Something like that. And so then what do you got right here? 71.40. Yep. So you would have bought that and you would have sold right here. Right there. So that would have been 1 day, 16 hours. This one was much quicker. Bang, 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 bang. So that happened in a whopping 16 hours. Now, you could have shorted this as well, but you would have had an invalidation point up here, right? That big rise up, you probably get knocked out of your short. If you flipped it right here to go short, by the time you got short, you're probably, if you didn't stop yourself out, you could have been licked or whatever. It would have worked in these two scenarios. So 2 out of 3 ain't bad, but 2 out of 3 is really 5 out of 6. You know, 3 longs, 3 shorts. 2 of the 3 shorts were good, right? But that's, you know, 10% both ways, 10, 20, 30, 30%. You know, not bad, but that's the idea, right? And you could do that until it's invalid, right? And you're out of the trade anyway. So you're protecting yourself, right? Unless it just goes further downside. So further downside, you know where your stop's at, right? Out of range. You're out of range, you're out of the trade. All right. Oh my God. Chat is hilarious. I see Alf. Don't eat the cat. Ow. Pokey. Was that his name? Pokey. Gumby and Pokey. That sounds about right. I'm in. In a van down by the river. There's your Saturday Night Live reference. Very nice. Eddie Murphy. Yeah. 21, not 21 Jump Street. No, it was Beverly Hills Cop. Beverly Hills Cop, Eddie Murphy. And of course, Coming to America and, you know, 1,000 other things at the time. But classic. It was a horse? Are you telling me Pokey was a horse? Get out of here. Was it? Gummy had a pet horse? Why? Why not a dog? Gummy was just a weirdo anyway. I mean, dude, that, like, really? That dude was weird. You ever take a, like, you know, you make like a hot dog, dude, and you're cooking hot dogs and you slice it and you give it like, you know, those weird arms and weird, like it always looks like Gumby. Freaks me out. All right, let's see. Because they move together, peak. They don't. They did at times, but no, they don't move together that much anymore. There are times where, yes, you know, Litecoin will move with Bitcoin and Ethereum and XRP and Bcash. And there's times where they don't, you know, times where they do the inverse. We've seen Bitcoin pump last night. Last night we saw Bitcoin pump and Ethereum go with it and Ripple and Litecoin die. So it's like, you know, it used to be, or like a few months ago, I used to, like in crypto, that's like 10 years have gone by. But it used to be that Litecoin preceded Bitcoin movements. So it was like a built-in indicator. Like if Litecoin had like a massive, you know, for Litecoin, like a 3 or 8% move up, and it broke out of like a key support that has been accumulating on, you could look back at the Bitcoin chart and be like, oh, it's happening. And it would happen. You know, it's not that like everybody was a genius. It's just that like that worked until like everything else in trading, until it doesn't. And it just, you know, it's not like that anymore. But we do get, we get some days where they go in tandem and some days where they don't. If you remember DGD, Digidex DAO, they were the complete inverse, Bitcoin and DGD. So Bitcoin would go up, 10%. DGD would dump 20. Bitcoin would dump 5%. DGD would go up 25%. It was insanity, but it was perfect. It was like the absolute inverse. And you just had to catch which one was leading that day, But those were good times. Not anymore though. Chat about how you can scan and watch for potential trades. That's a great question. So do yourself a favor and add a watch list to, your trading view. And in that watch list, like I got one that's just Binance. So this one's probably, I don't know, it's a few months old. That's the one issue, right? You have to update them because finance changes all the time. And sort it right up top, percent, and hit the button. And then you just scroll through, hit the space bar, space bar, space bar, space bar, space bar, space bar, until you see something interesting. And you're like, oh, well, wait a second. Might have something here. So then you zoom in a little bit. You say, all right, got a good downtrend, good kickback, solid buying. So you say, all right, well, I know that area has a lot of people hungry. That's cool. Now we got a high, higher low. We got a test up to the 50, shallow, higher low, trend. Okay. Clear validation point. Absolutely obvious resistance level. So now I know, okay, well, now I got something. Even though I see that failed attempt here, break and close above, come back with a retest, buy it. All right, and then push. First target, 8% back to the 50. Break the 50, and I'd probably go for the 70. I don't think I'd go for the 100 unless there was like just a ton of volume and interest. But 26%, next move, right? Structure support. Right, you always check to see if there's any confluence. All right. So this could be an area of hesitation, which happens to also be the 50. So I would probably just pull the whole trade here, allow it to pull back, buy the pullback, and pull it all the way back up. If it looks interesting enough to then once again attempt the 70. Right. But this wasn't on my radar. This just looked interesting because it got a decent move, right? 1.4%. Now, the other thing you do, you look for volume. So you could scan like, so right here, coin checkup. Wow, watch your eyeballs, peoples. So something like this, and you look for 24-hour volume, right? So who has, the most volume in the last 24 hours? And then you could break this down to like ones that you like, break it down to the top 100, blah, 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 blah. But you can see like volume. So, obviously you get rid of Tether, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, EOS, Cash, XRP, Tron, Paxos, SV, Neo, right? So you know that these have like volume, decent volume last 24 hours. Then you could quickly scan hourly, bang. All right, everything's garbage. 24 hours. Okay, the only interesting thing here is Bitcoin, Litecoin, Cash, ETC, and maybe Neo. So like Neo, I haven't looked at, like typically I would look at a Neo chart every day because it usually lives over here on one of these four-way windows, but it's on the other, isn't it? Yeah, it's on the other monitor. But like even stuff like this. So short-term FET, Seller, Matic, One, right? They all sort of move in somewhat of unison. These are all 5-minute charts on Heikin Ashi. So I get kind of like a preceding idea that something may be brewing on a bigger picture, right? So if you were like scalping, right, you could just play these. But these are indications that volume is coming in, interest is coming in. And then I could take a look at the bigger picture, the hourly chart, the 4-hour chart, the daily chart, and see if there's an actual play or if it's just this, move up, down, move up, down, move up, down, move up, down. You're just in a downtrend, right? Nothing's happening. But for the first time in God knows how long, right now you're trading, right, on a valid MA. So you have the 50 MA, even though it's the 5-minute chart, not the psychology, the thought behind it, right, is that you're recovering something. So if you're recovering on the 5-minute chart, you probably look pretty good now with your 7 and your 9 EMAs on your daily chart, right? You might be getting those back. And we can find out, right? We go to FET. Let me go back to this right here, and we'll go FET. Those were all USDT, so FET, USDT. And let's see if we did on the daily recover. No, just the other day we did, but no, we're still trading underneath our 7 and 9 EMA. Look at this downtrend, though. Look how aggressive that is. So when this thing breaks, though, like, check it out. Look at that. Look at that. Right? Solid. When it breaks, it takes no prisoners, man. It doesn't care. Now, here's the cool thing, right? When it broke, right? Easy buy. Awesome. Then you were in this like choppy little, swing fail, double top, blah, 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 all the double top that never happened, that deal. Here, let's put another line on there. Okay, so then over here, it's the same deal, right? When it breaks with a close above, right? That's the only indication you need in order to take a reasonable trade on a coin that'll more than likely give you, pretty solid returns in a short period of time. Dear Lord. That was a 291% move, this one right here. And even if he got in late, which is fine, let's say you waited for the 720 cross right here. Let's say you waited for that. All right. And you got the cross, candle closed, and you said, all right, I'm going to buy the next candle. And you did. And at the time you're thinking, oh, I got screwed, right? Instantly came down, right? Pulled back to the EMA, but you bought it, right? So now you're in. Next day, candle goes up, sideways, good push up. You're already at 40%. It's been 16% at like 48 hours, 72 hours, you're at 40%. 84%, top side 133%. Now you need to know when to get out of the trade, right? So, there's with trading, right? There's a whole ton of stuff that goes with it. It's not like that looks good, I'm going to buy it. You could develop for yourself a system that is like checks and balances. This, and this have to happen, and then I'll take the trade. And this, and this have to happen, and then I'll exit the trade. So we talk about things like entry indicators and exit indicators and stuff like that. And that's going to be like, your own system to like what works for you. So like, here's Forex, right? And something like Forex, right? I use something similar, right? Where I have, not only do I look at my chart and I take a look at what I think looks okay as far as reversals and ideas. Now, this is a daily chart, right? This is British pound and yen. And then I take a look at my rundown, right? And I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I'm on the positive side here. My Arun's crossover is good. Now, right here, so my Wadatar, is not giving me the green light to go long. So I don't. So all my other checks and balances are like, yeah, dude, you're good. But until my volume is saying rock and roll, dude, then I won't. And right here. Now my classic charting is this right here. Swing, fail, break and close above, push down, bit of a fail. So swing back top with a close above, and right now a retest, right? So this is something that, you know, I would be hesitant on taking for two reasons. One, all my checks and balances aren't going long yet. And two, right, classic swing fail right here. Okay. This is a rising wedge, break to the downside with a retest, push for further downside. This can go both ways. You have to be aware that you have one pattern telling you you got the retest to go short, and you got another swing fail telling you this is your break and close with your retest to go long. So it's essentially a no trade until everything's on your side. So similar with crypto or anything else. You may want something that indicates, all right, it is time for me to exit this trade. You probably won't catch the top and you probably won't catch the bottom, but you'll safely get out of the trade with gains, right? That's the whole point. All right, let's see. Yeah, it's true, because LTC only goes up when... All right, Peak. So even though I'm looking for USD entry, I check the BTC chart. Oh, is that all you're talking about? Is just when to enter Litecoin? Or are you talking about Litecoin versus Bitcoin? It's very different. I think you're just talking about Litecoin BTC versus Litecoin USD. And those aren't the same either, but I understand what you're saying there. That you can look for entries on. Yeah, okay, all right. So yes, like I said, I mostly trade, at least currently, I mostly trade USDT. So because the volume and the price action is mostly on BTC, I'll monitor those charts. You understand what I'm saying? And then if I see something that looks good bullish moves on, let's say, Litecoin on the BTC side, then I'll check the USDT chart. The only way that's not going to work is if Bitcoin's dumping, Litecoin's pushing up against Bitcoin, meaning that Litecoin is now trading better than Bitcoin. It's outpacing it, and therefore the USDT value is going to be dropping, right? Because the USDT value is based off of USDT, where Litecoin, even though the chart looks like it's skyrocketing, it's really not even moving. It's just that Bitcoin's dumping. So it's holding its sat value based off of a coin that's losing value, which is making Litecoin look like it's pumping, even though it might be staying exactly the same on the USDT chart. It could be flat. It could even be losing value. More often than not, it is. Right? So, but yes, you can do that. I don't recommend it unless you've been doing it for a while, then you sort of know what to look for. If not, just look at the chart that you want to trade. That makes the most sense. So if you're going to trade Litecoin BTC, just look at Litecoin BTC chart. Be aware of what USDT is doing, but I wouldn't look at it for signals to jump in on a trade, if that makes sense. All right. Oh, geez. All right. So even though I'm looking for USD entry, I check the BTC chart. Yeah. Okay. 72 is cheap. 72 is cheap for what? Oh, Litecoin. Yeah. It's overdue for a run, but it's going to take a good move. So let me pull up this old chart here. Let's see. Litecoin. I do it on Polo. I don't remember where I had it. I don't think that's it. Might have been Trex. Huh, where the hell is it? Oh, I think it's on this template. Hold on, check this out. All right, so we got to go back to Bitcoin. Let's try that one. No? Polo? Ow. Bear with me, guys. Hold on. Hang in there. Where the hell is it? Trex? Huh. No, I don't think it'd be hit. Interesting. I don't know where the hell it is. I don't know where it is. Anyway, whatever. I had a chart. I liked it. It was cool. Now it's gone. Life goes on. You know what I'm saying? Can't win them all. But yeah, so Litecoin. This is HIT BTC. Let's go back to Coinbase. All right. Yeah, Litecoin is just an interesting cat. It really is. Look at this chart, dude. Look at this thing. Right? Look at that. First off, I mean, if you bought at $3.71, you, my friend, are the man. Look at this. Look at the massive move here. All right. It's good to get like a this type of perspective on the bigger picture, right? Not every coin has, 2 or 3 years of history. And Litecoin doesn't even have that much history, but it's more than most. So throw your fib up here, bottom to top. This is what I like to call global. So if you ever hear me refer to the global 618, right? That means like all-time low, all-time high. And that's sort of taken into account that the all-time low happened earlier in time, right? And then I'm painting the fib, bottom left, top right. Anyway, so this is not like the all-time low. We should probably get that. It's not going to make any difference because, with where we are in price, but, whatever. Now we're like legit. I'm not counting that wick right there. All right, so overall, big, huge move, right? Here's your 886. This level right here, 886. Look at the dump beneath the 886. This is sort of like your last, this zone right here. Like you shouldn't be this low ever, really. That's as deep as it gets. You should not be trading down here. And look, like we held it. That was the epic accumulation that I was talking about just earlier, right? That's that zone where we were like, man, that accumulation is so good. And then just that massive drop. We did the same thing over here, right? And we're doing the same thing again right now. But these areas you can look for where the accumulation is so tight, the consolidation is so tight, it maintains this rock solid level below, but that is the level that'll break. Price is pushing down, right? It just fails to make anything higher than the previous candle while it maintains this lower level, right? So, whatever it is for, just for talking, let's just say $20, right? You just can't get underneath $20. That is, nobody is selling under $20, right? But The ones that were selling at 25 are now willing to take 24.50, and 24.50 turns into 24.25. 24.25 turns into 23. 23 to 22, 22 to 21, and now you're like dead even at 20. Like there's no separation in price, and you'll notice that the bottom 9 times out of 10 will just drop, and that 20 goes down to like $8. It's brutal. It's brutal. But if you look at this zone right here, and then look where it dropped. 56% dump right here. And you held it. And you held it. And you held it. And not only did you hold it, you had a reason to. 886, all-time low, all-time high. You held it like a champion. And then you dumped it for 56% more. JC is back, everybody.
What's up? If you pull up the RSI, you'll actually see... what's that, the daily? You can actually see the bearish crossover. Did you already go over the pivots stuff?
No. We were just talking the Litecoin chart, just because it was a beautiful looking chart.
Oh yeah, Litecoin BTC actually looks pretty solid for a swing trade coming up soon. I don't think it's gonna break down again. I think it'll push up personally. All right, so. FTM getting a lot of volume means we want to look at IEO coins again. I see one is starting to get some volume. It's a shitty chart, to be honest, but we're coming back to retest the 618 of the previous move. I'll bring this up real quick. So one and Matic could both be pretty decent trades. They'll probably follow FTM like they did. So clear and validation level. I like these types of setups where we've got basically. Let me show you real quick. So our Fibonacci levels. Pull it up. So we're sitting on that 61.8% level. Very clear in validation. 90, 95, 96 buy. Would be solid because you're sitting on the triple support here of the wicks, and then you can always cut the trade if we break that level and take a small little 2%, 3% loss if it breaks down to like 92 or something like that. But the upside on this trade is the 38.2 and then the 23.6 and then a potential test at the 126 level. All in all, I like this trade, especially because you can set it, set a decent little 3 to 12% risk reward ratio of 4 on this trade. So I like one. I like Matic. Those two trades are pretty okay for some intraday scalping. I do see some volume coming in on one. We've got a 5.6 BTC volume in the last hour with an increase of about 1 to 2% in the volume. So that's one that's getting some volume. Aeon is getting some volume. It had a pretty massive sell-off. Oh shit! It already bounced. It never triggered my alarm because I was expecting it to get to the candle, but it kind of got front run a little bit. So Aeon, I was looking for a bounce around 81. It looks like it just got to 82, so one above. I was actually considering sending this as a trade. I was going to keep a 5% stop. Let's do our little Fibonacci's here. And I was going to be, we came down. I was expecting 81 zone. So I was looking, I guess we can move this up to 82. So I was basically looking at a 38.2 for a 17% trade with a 6% stop loss. So if we can get, one more test down here, I like 81. It was a strong level here. Strong support. It tested and bounced here. I like having the stop below that swing wick. So if you don't want it at 78, you can put it at 76. Just make sure you adjust your position sizes accordingly. Okay, also, if you guys are new here or if you watch the replay and you're new here, make sure that you go through the risk management section on the website. It's an hour long, and then make sure you watch the stop loss guide because those are going to really clear up a lot of the questions that I'm seeing about a lot of that stuff. When you hit like 1 or 2 stop losses, it shouldn't really affect you emotionally. and you just got to keep going. You're going to hit stop losses, win-loss ratio at about 60%. So you're going to hit about 4 out of 10 stop losses. It's okay, especially in this kind of a market where we keep our stops pretty tight. It's okay because our winners will, should hit us, 10%, 15%. Our stops should be anywhere from 4 to 6. But make sure you're calculating your position sizes on each one. Make sure you're keeping your risk low, around 1%. So if you have not gone through that and watched that, make sure you do. So Aon was another trade. WAN BTC having some action. Yeah, WAN is it's got the solid pullbacks. It's a great scalp coin. You got to zoom into the 5-minute though. Yeah, they took the wick deep, 4,300. Let's see if there's. So if we change our RSI back to 2, we can see if our pattern's still holding out pretty well. Hourly. The problem is those deep wicks right there. They just 6%. 6%. They just keep snatching some liquidity from people. 8%. I think we took a trade last night and part of it got wicked out. I re-entered on a lower buy, but only got partially filled. Yep, WAN looks like it's pushing up nicely. We've got this lower trend line. So it'll probably hit that, come back down, retest the 23.6, and then try to push up again for the 5,300 zone. High time frame. This is moving really well. This is a coin that's it's a good buy the dip coin. This is a hard one. It's better to not use stop losses on a coin like this, but that increases your risk. But if you're gonna use a stop loss, just make sure it's pretty low so you don't get wicked out. So we've got this support line, which looks like it's being respected pretty well, and then we've got this support line. So you can expect another retest 46.23 if we get rejected here, and as long as that support line holds. Decent coin to trade up. Thanks, Mang. LTC BTC. I don't think I have a chart up on it. Whoops, that's Bitstamp. So we're coming back to this zone. 1, 2, 3. Had a little bit of a fake out. 4. So this zone is the level to watch. We got here and it bounced like 6%. But if this breaks down, that's not looking too great. But what I'm seeing on this is, let me bring this up real quick. Here's my LTC chart. Basically just a consolidation triangle, similar to that. It broke out of this massive 4-hour downtrend / daily downtrend. Broke out here, retested, came across. Now it's basically forming a triangle. And so this is not a bad place to buy Litecoin, where we at 70, on this lower support level and with a stop below, just because you've got pretty strong support. It's been tested a bunch of times, but you could still keep your risk like 3%. And my targets would probably be 80 right here, 0.008, and then 80, probably 9. Top of this wick here, previous support back here, previous support back here. So 8 was right here, 9, 30%. So this is a long-term swing trade. And then the very top of this would be probably like 90, 96, 37%. It's kind of like a slow moving train though. Litecoin doesn't just kind of move all of a sudden. It just takes time and kind of grinds up. So there's 2 strategies you could play this with. You could buy here on support, or you can buy the breakout, retest, push up. And this is more high risk because you don't have a confirmed bounce. But this, you get a little less, profit. But at least you're broken out of the downtrend for a safer trade. And I don't think it's going to come up and then come down. So let's take a look at some other stuff, and then we're gonna do a quick glance at Bitcoin and check out what's going on there. You guys want me to cover anything else before we close the stream down? I think my computer's gonna restart everything. Oh, some big news today. I don't know if you guys saw. Craig Wright was found. Sorry, I'm looking at I'm trying to find the thing. I don't know if anybody saw this yet.
Yeah, judge said he hammered himself.
The judge said he hammered himself?
No, well, what do you call that when you like perjure yourself with he had false documentation and like he basically like
yeah, so I'll just go through this real quick. Basically, Kleinman Wright, the end 826. There was no additional evidence from both sides, so they moved into argument. This was a girl that like went up there and I guess watched it. I should have went up there. It was in Palm Beach, but Always Bullish says, I am Satoshi. We're all Satoshi, man. In my opinion, all she was going for this time was to delay it further and kept talking about January 2021, 2020, when supposedly CSW will get access to a file. At some point, she asked if Craig Wright could give a speech once again. I'm not sure if it's personal opinion or CSW or his accent prevented me to understand everything, but to summarize, I'm a good person. I honor the court, the effort they put in this case, etc. The defendant's position was the discovery has not been completed. We need more time and we will find the truth. Judge asked defendant. So basically what it comes down to is plaintiff, I don't want to go over everything again, but just understand the gravity of the fraud. Here goes through all the lies CSW stated at the beginning. And then the attorney said, 50% of all the patents related to Bitcoin and filed prior to Dave's death going to Kleinman's. So do 50% of the coins supposedly mined by Craig Wright and Dave. CSW pays Kleinman's legal fees. They rejected all of Craig Wright's testimonies on the matter. So pretty big news. I'll have to wait to see exactly kind of what that means. I don't know how Bitcoin SV prices reacted to that yet. Probably not like super high. Down 3%. It's still at $130. I considered buying some when it was $50, just to take a flyer on it. Would have been a solid trade. It's up 300%, but I think it went all the way up to 250 when Craig Wright said in a Slack channel that he was going to sell all his Bitcoin for BSV. Pumped it to the Koreans. Okay, cool. Any other charts you guys want us to take a look at? All of the signals we'll try and post on the website, the safe ones. Yeah, Matic had a nice little pump off that little up 2.8%. What was it at? 133. Yeah, moved pretty nice, 3%. We had that 200 MA holding pretty well. Basically bounced between the 200 and the 200 EMA. I do expect this to break up though. It's been consolidating for a while. One and Matic are probably the top two trades I see, but Litecoin's looking pretty solid. What else was I watching? There's a lot of setups going on. There's a lot of pullback entries I'm looking for. EVX was one. It was getting some solid volume. Metal one. FTM, I was looking at that chart on my phone, looking for a pullback like 61.8/78.6. So FTM, if it gets down to this zone, 148, 150, I would definitely watch that. Okay, so moving forward though with the trades, I'm going to really focus and recommend taking profits at T1. I just went back through and did a lot of back testing, and T1, just taking profits out at T1, you're going to be much more profitable. And the problem that I'm seeing is I'm seeing people not taking profits at all, and they're letting the trades come back and hit entries again and hit stop losses when the trades are really good, 9 to 15%. People in any market will take those all day. So make sure that you guys are locking in profits, especially in this market where it gives it back very, very quickly. And don't let the, one coin that goes up like 600% kind of take you out of the mindset and logic of taking profit. This actually kind of looks a lot like, I think Algo. So we've got this rising wedge structure with bearish divergence on the 4-hour. What was the chart that I just saw? No. FET. No. I was just looking at a chart that looked really, really similar to that. Dusk, maybe? What percentage for T1 if using 3 commas? If you guys are not being profitable, I would recommend just taking out 100% at T1. And then just moving on to the next trade and try and compound those gains. Dusk, we're getting a 2000 or 5000 cross to the downside, 2200 cross to the downside. That spells big time correction on this on the 4-hour. Daily, we're probably still, no, we crossed under 20. So Dusk is kind of off my radar for now. I don't even think I'll look for a 78.6 move. It's just too sharp of a decline right now. It might get a bounce, but I'd rather get some pullbacks like that have already broken out. So Wanchain has that rising wedge structure. What the hell chart was I looking at that had the exact same structure, dude?
Was it it wasn't EVX, was it?
No.
That had a pretty solid move, what, a week or so ago. Ren had a pretty solid move a few weeks ago, pulled back, came back up again.
Let's take a look at Ren. Ren is sitting on the 200 EMA, broke our 100, sitting on the 200 EMA, about 9 Satoshis away from our stop loss, which is the 88.6. I did not think we would, I cannot believe that 100 MA didn't send it back up here. The 200 MA is much, much lower. So right now we're sitting on about, I think, an 8% loss from bottom of the entry. Hopefully we can get a reaction here, but it's possible that we take it all the way down. So on this one, we closed down every other trade. Bitcoin had a nice breakout. I thought that Ren would hold on this trend line, and we just broke down from there. So this one I was just going to let my stop do the work as an invalidation level. Cool. Thanks guys for watching. We're watching the market. I'm trying to provide as many of those intraday trade setups as I can where we can, lock in 5-7% on a daily basis. Swing trades are still a little bit iffy with Bitcoin doing what it's doing. But there is money to be made, and we will make it. So a nice little doji on the daily after a big sell down yesterday. Not quite close. We closed just barely above yesterday's daily. So I am expecting a retest into our buy zone one more time, hopefully, which would mean we'd break that 100 or 200 MA, which doesn't look like it's really doing much, but one more retest would be beautiful if we can get our buy zone in there and then a big push out. Now, one thing that I do want to note on the monthly chart, I want to show you this real quick. On the monthly chart, if you go into the Murad, one of my colleagues, just posted this. Here, I'll actually just pull up his tweet. It's easier. This one right here. So this is the multi-month local bottom. So this is like Bitcoin just peeking up, just peeking out. So could be the multi-month local bottom as we're just peeking out. So good to get our entries. Like I said, we can start scaling in. Even if we go down to 8,500, I still think, from 10,000 to 8,500, I think it's good entries for a push up to higher zones. All right, anything else popping up on my volume monitor before we go? So one, Aeon still popping up. Waves, Theta, ICX has a few volume pings here. Let me check ICX real quick. So Wan Chain moved, but ICX was still kind of left. Looks like we found some support on the 200 EMA hourly. This is a dirty chart.
Oh, choppy. Good W.
Yeah, not bad. So 4 hour, we are holding this key 200 MA, 200 EMA. These are really, really great to buy. We missed this pullback, nice breakout pullback. Solid 17, 22%. A couple days ago, we missed that pullback on the 200 EMA. Looks like it might be forming a little bit of a bull flag to challenge the top side. But ICX is definitely getting some nice volume spikes, and we're finally above and closed above this on the 4 hour, and the daily we're just rejected on the 50, so we might get maybe a dip back down. But again, we'll call them out as signals when we see the proper setups. But I'll post as many of them I can as with the in the intraday scalp trade. Okay. Cool, guys. Well, we'll catch you on the next one. Appreciate you watching. And if you have any questions, make sure you tag us in the Discord.